Great to be invited to come along and talk today. I think what I'd start off by saying, though, around myself and what I'm talking about, I aren't an expert in innovation. I don't consider myself to an expert. I don't consider Yokshire Water or Kelder to be an expert in innovation. What I'm here to do today is to share with you some of the journey that we're on. Take from that whatever you want, apply in your own organisations. I think with innovation it's very difficult to just say, that's the model, we pick that up, we put it in our own organisation. There's that little word, and I do stress little word, but it's absolutely massive, of culture. Culture of countries, culture of organisations, culture of sectors, and it's overlooked far too many times. So, as I say, really here to share the journey that we've been on from an innovation perspective. Of course, you all know who this is, but do you know whose hand is shaking? The answer, of course, is shaking John F. Kennedy's hand. The individual I'm talking about is James E. Webb, the administrator of NASA from 1961, most commonly associated with the Apollo space missions. Some would argue the sculptor of NASA. Some perhaps would say he's done more for science and innovation and industry than any other government official the world over. Now, Webb was an experienced and highly successful businessman. He was so clear on his vision for what NASA needed to become that he declined the offer that Kennedy and Johnson made him in terms of becoming NASA administrator until they agreed to his vision for NASA. His foresight was that space exploration was more than a political space race. It was more than a one-shot program. He believed that NASA had to strike the balance between human spaceflight and science because such a combination would serve academia and the industries within America and put them on one hell of a platform going forwards. I realised to do this, NASA had to transform, really transform from where it had been, from being a group of disparate scientists, engineers, all of who had tried to do everything in-house. They tried to keep Congress at arm's length. They battled with Congress. They tried to secure their own funding for bespoke projects that they were interested in. Very little governance, and had no trust in those dreaded contractors. And what Webb did was say, well, we need to change from that to being a collaborating organisation with an overall approved budget. We need to put clear governance in place. We need clear roles and responsibilities. A clear goal that can be articulated and understood by the masses, honing their project management skills and utilising expert organisations to deliver that goal. And in September '62 at Rice Stadium, Texas, Kennedy utilised Webb's vision in his speech about going to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they're easy, but because they're hard. Because that goal will serve to organise and measure the best of our energies and skills. At the peak of Webb's 7-year tenure, NASA had more than 400,000 people working in the sector across all of their partner organisations, thousands of partner organisations. They launched more than 75 missions, developed robotic spacecraft. Webb personally had the vision for a large space telescope, which was later launched into space and became known as the Hubble Space Telescope. They sent scientific probes to Mars and Venus, and of course provided that platform for the backdrop to the lunar landings. Now, you may be sat there thinking, well, why is he droning on? That's all very interesting. Why am I recounting this? Well, for me, what Webb did was true innovation. He was so very clear about his goal. He was so passionate about a goal that was worthwhile. He gave clear roles and responsibilities to individuals, all within NASA and the partner organisations that they appointed and chose to work with. And those partner organisations were universities who were major conglomerates from the world over. He gave those clear roles and responsibilities. He measured success. He understood return on investments. And he understood and quantified the measured risks that they needed to take. So thinking about goal, we choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Worthwhile, not because they're easy, but because they're hard. And in terms of organised, because that goal will serve to organise. And from a governance perspective, and measure the best of our energies and skills. Now, prior to creating innovation delivery within Yorkshire Water, colleagues were not clear on what the goal or the purpose was. We had confused roles, responsibilities, accountabilities. The wrong things were being measured, if at all. And there was little structured stakeholder engagement. Things needed to change. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a basket case. You know, there was a lot of successes that were there, but things could be done a lot better. So we provided a clear purpose of the department that was linked directly back to Yorkshire Water's vision and the strategic direction statement. The strategic direction statements that Ofwat had asked all water companies to provide. We were ensuring we were focusing our efforts on a clear line of sight to our vision. We structured the department using clear role statements and gave clarity around roles, responsibilities using a RACI approach. We've put measurement in place, along with a quality management system to ensure consistency of approach and a strong performance management ethos. We brought new people in, and some people have left. And it's fair to say that we're on a journey. I'm only 2.5 years into my tenure. But where to innovate? Well, many important factors will drive and shape and influence the water industry over the next quarter of a century. The water industry is used to adapting to external constraints, whether that's environmental, regulatory, technological. But emerging drivers such as climate change, resource depletion, and changing demographics will pose significant challenges. Rising energy costs and the need to drastically reduce greenhouse gas emissions are already presenting challenges to companies, but also presenting opportunities to innovate. The UK is committed to reducing greenhouse gas, and the water industry will need to play its part as a significant energy consumer. Now, there have been numerous reviews. Mark alluded to them, Gray Review, Pitt Review, the Walker Review, the Water White Paper, just talking to Mark this morning, touching on future price limits, to name but a few. So in a changing landscape, do we look at this as doom and gloom and become complacent as a business? Or do we look at the opportunities that this landscape presents? And when you're in a position faced with so many opportunities and perhaps challenges, it's easy to be seduced by the world of innovation. Very easy to be seduced by that world of innovation. It can become an assault on your senses. You read about new technologies, people, organisations tell you how great their product is, how it's the silver bullet, how it will solve your problems. For the record, I'm yet to see a silver bullet, so if anybody's got one today, I'd be glad to receive that. Some perhaps think that this will be that silver bullet. It's easy to go on study visits to other countries, to other companies, making it look like we're wanting to learn and bring new ways of working back to our own organisation, back to our own countries. But how many times do we? Is the return on investment of those trips ever measured? In my experience, those types of trips don't have the appreciation of the drivers behind those other organisations or those other countries. What's driven them to actually innovate in the way that they are? What's the culture in that country or that organisation? How could you transform your culture into what they're receiving? Equally, organisations look at how they can break into a sector or an organisation, who to contact. The chief exec's always a good one. Board members, senior executives. I find with innovation you can finish up working very, very hard, constantly changing direction because of that assault on the senses, but not actually delivering anything at all, adding any value, any benefit to the organisation or the sector that you're working for. Change is very, very difficult. Many pontificate about it, but few actually do it and maintain that change once they've made it. Only this month in Harvard Business Review, in fact I sent this article to Ron, Mark and Ian this morning, the 4 worst innovation assassins. It really made me smile, and I'd really recommend anybody having a look on the internet, just have a look at Harvard Business Review and that particular article. I could relate to all 4 assassins that they listed. I could add a few more as well, but we don't have time today for that, maybe during the coffee. So for innovation delivery in Yorkshire Water, we have very clear purpose statements for the department. That is to deliver world-class innovation by understanding the future business challenges and opportunities in pursuit of industry-leading outperformance. And I'd ask you to take 3 key words from that: challenges, opportunities and outperformance. In other words, scan the horizon for the challenges that we're going to face, find innovative solutions that will deliver real business benefits and form service and value. So when considering where to innovate and what we need to innovate, we organise and prioritise and test ourselves against 6 strategic business objectives that link directly back to our vision. And those are shown on the screen there. So being a trusted company, strong financial foundations, sustainable resources, water efficient regions, safe water. And safe water is not just about public health. Safe water is making sure that we work safely and we ensure that the water does not harm our customers or communities at any point during the process. And then finally, excellent rivers, catchments and coasts.